Hey guys. So first off, I want to say, I know that you guys are probably like, she's wearing a sweater and it's the middle of summer. I have an affliction where if it's not super cold in my house in the middle of summer, I verbally attack the people I love. So I like to keep it cold in my house so I can keep it cool. Hey guys, it's Francie and Simone, and I am here with a book tag of all things. I haven't done a book tag in a while, if I have done one at all. So I was tagged by Steve Donahue to do the Cliches book tag. Now the original video is actually from Miranda Hayes. She's the one who created it. So check her out. I've linked her down below, and I'll also link Steve's video down below. So guys, let's just jump into it, right? This is my first book tag. Ah! Okay. So question number one, this is like 10 questions. Question number one, actions speak louder than words. A book that wasn't or couldn't be better than the movie. Now, I'm actually gonna have to steal one of these answers from Steve. Jurassic Park, I absolutely could not stand that book. I had to read it in school, and then we watched the movie, and I was like, why did we even read the book? It was not my favorite. Pride and Prejudice, don't hate me guys. I know a lot of you probably like Jane Austen, but it is just not something I can do. Dracula Untold. Now, I know that Dracula Untold is actually not based on the book Dracula, but that's how much I just don't like the book Dracula. But Dracula Untold is a pretty kick-ass Dracula story, so there you have it. The Duff, even though it was kind of like a remake of She's All That. And last but not least, The Merchant of Venice, or maybe even all of Shakespeare's plays are better to be watched than to be read, but specifically The Merchant of Venice. I loved the movie. I love the dark undertones. Thought it was beautiful. Not to mention I love some of the soundtrack. Anyways, it was for me over the text, even though I do love the text, but the movie was just like, boom, brought it home. Question number two, the grass is always greener on the other side. A rags to riches or riches to rags story. So for this, I picked two books. I picked one, A Long Way Gone by Ishmael Bea. And actually, it's more like a riches to rags story and then a rags to riches story. I read it a while ago, so forgive me. I think it's set in Sierra Leone or... I hate that. I should have figured it out before I started filming. It's actually set during a period of a militia takeover. And clearly this kid had a life. He had a family. He had brothers and sisters, a mother, an entire town that he loved, and it was all taken from him the moment the militia came in and burned everything and took them as boy soldiers. And it's about his journey as being a boy soldier, of escaping and then telling his story. And so it really is a riches to rags because he lost everything in his life. You know, it's not always riches, doesn't always mean money. Sometimes it can just mean the quality of your life. But he came out in the end. Clearly, it's not a spoiler. He wrote the book, so don't get mad at me. But he came out in the end, and he was able to travel around the world and to talk about his story and to really help other people. So I think this one is like the epitome of both rags to riches and riches to rags. Also, I picked number two, Empress, the God Speaker trilogy by Karen Miller. The main character, she is a kick-ass chick, but you know, we all want kick-ass heroines. She is like a kick-ass villain. Like, this story starts out with her dad degrading her like she is a dog. And she moves up into world until she becomes the empress of the entire empire. It's a little crazy, and I never really finished the series because it kind of fell off the wagon. But I really love this rags to riches story. Culture is interesting. It's not like an American Western type story. So if you were interested in that, I would suggest book one, and then kind of book two, but book three just kind of killed it for me. So I don't know if I suggest the whole series, but I would suggest this book. Question number three, The Apple Doesn't Far Too Fall from the Tree, a parent-child relationship that you love. Polly Horvath is one of my favorite authors in children's literature. I mean, this chick, she writes family so well. A lot of times the discussions being had are very serious topics like prejudice or child abuse, child neglect, serious family issues that a lot of people deal with. But her writing style is so sardonic and so funny and so hilarious that I love her stuff and I eat it up. Now for this, I didn't necessarily just pick child-parent relationship. I actually picked all three of her books. Now this one is the canning season. It's actually about a girl who goes to live with her great aunt. The Trolls is actually about three kids whose parents go away on a vacation and their aunt comes to stay, and she tells them stories about her childhood, including her dad, and there's a lot of, you know, speculation of what happened in their family because there's a lot of family drama that actually really ended up separating everyone. And it's kind of a sad story, but it's also also a beautiful and hilarious story, and it's so fun. And I actually have a story about this book and Polly Hovarth and what she told me after I asked her a question about the book. And then this one, When the Circus Came to Town. I love the relationship actually between the mom and her daughter in this one. Ivy lives in a small town, and next door, some people who actually are from the circus moved in, and they love living in such a stationary place that they start telling the people that they worked with in the circus, and they start moving in, and more circus people start moving in, and the town is really small, full of a lot of church people, and there's some prejudice going on, and it's really cool, it's really fun, and the girl in this book and her mom have a really strong, awesome relationship, and there are no missing parents, which I love about Polly Horvath. Number 4, You Can't Judge a Book by Its Cover. A great book that needs a better cover. For me, I picked The Winner's Curse. I cannot stand these covers. They're beautiful in themselves, sure, but to me, The Winner's Curse is so much more than a girl in a pretty dress. There's a YA trend where the covers have to all be about these girls in dresses or looking pretty, and so that readers can insert themselves into them or like idolize these other girls in these covers like something they want to be. It's really horrible to me because it really takes away from the story, and I just thought that this cover did not do the book justice. Sorry, Kestrel and the world that she lives in is so much more than that. Number 5, You Can't Please Everyone, a book you hate that everyone loved. For me, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to pick a whole section here. All Victorian romance or gothic novels. I know I'm in the minority here, but Jesus, I just cannot do it. Another book is As I Lay Dying by William Faulkner. I absolutely hated that book. I understand its importance in a type of storytelling. It really opened up to the stream of consciousness. That's really interesting. It's really cool, but as a fucking story, it blows because like it just was not, I just could not connect to it. And I am totally probably in the minority here. Lots of people love that story. Lots of people love William Faulkner. I just can't get into him. Number 6, What Doesn't Kill You Makes You Stronger. What's a book that made you a better person for having read it? So number 1 on this list, I have Mouse by Art Spiegelman. I absolutely love this graphic novel series. If you've never read it, Art is actually the son of a Holocaust survivor, and his dad tells the story of his life during the Holocaust. This is just a story that's just really poignantly told. It's beautiful, it's heartbreaking. You can really understand that the generational gap between people who go through trauma in really serious situations and how their kids sometimes don't understand or want to move forward, but sometimes their parents are trapped. And you know, how can you blame someone for being trapped in a time period where they were literally hunted down like animals? This made me think not only about serious issues, but it also made me think about the way art is portrayed and how we can say things with the white space on a page. I mean, there's just so much in this book to think about and to love and to really gather from that, oh my gosh, I keep calling it a book, it's a graphic novel, but there's just so much in here to really soak in. So buy it, soak it in, soak it in. And this book, I have Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. This book is actually, I know you're probably thinking, it's a gothic novel, bitch, and you said you hated gothic novels, but actually I really love Frankenstein. This really is the one book that made me question who is the villain in every story. Honestly, this book has so much moral ambiguity in it that it's so beautiful. This book stayed with me and always made me think over and over and over again about moral ambiguity and the moral ambiguity with villains and heroes and how easily we can become a villain of someone else's story, whether we're the hero of ours or other people's as well. And it's just, I just thought that it was poignantly done. Plus, Mary Shelley was like 18 when she did this. Holla holla for you, girl. You did good. You did good. Now, the next one is The Life and Murder by Bindi McKenzie. This is by Jacqueline Moriarty. And I know I mention it all the time, but guys, this book, it's so beautiful. Now, Bindi is a smart girl. She's intelligent. She's outgoing. She's adventurous. She is all of the things that essentially makes up what you would consider an ideal person. But the problem with Bindi is nobody likes her. She doesn't connect with other people well, and she wants to. And it's so heartbreaking. And this whole book is told through memo pads, notes. I mean, Bindi is the most active teenager I have ever read about. She loves to help other people, to help them study, to give them notepads, to make them better people. She is all about making people better people. But sometimes when you're in the business of making other people better, you can end up being judgmental about people. You can end up being passive aggressive. And really throughout your efforts of spreading good, you're actually hurting the people around you, and sometimes Bindi does that. And guys, this is just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful book, and the best part about it is hilarious as fuck. I mean, I don't think I ever stopped laughing, except for when I was crying, because there are just some things this girl goes through, and she goes through them alone, and she just wants people around her. And when people finally realize that Bindi is on their side and that they're on Bindi's side, it's just the most amazing possible like experience you could ever have in a book. So I would really always recommend. Number 7, Love is Blind, a book with a disabled character or actual blind love. So first, let's start with actual blind love. How about Obsidian? This girl fell in love with a boy who surpasses the asshole phase and moves into the do not be left alone in the room with this person because you will come about with physical harm. Those are all the red flags I got. She was head over heels while he was still calling her ugly, fat, and all sorts of other sexually aggressive things. 2, Untamed by PC Cass. Oh my god, guys. Sometimes there are those books that you don't want to admit that you've actually read. I'm not going to say that this is one of them. She met him in the lunchroom for like 5 seconds. She goes to the gym, he's in there. They have a 2-second conversation in which she realizes she's falling in love. He dies. I don't know, he like passed out and flipped out and died. And she was just like, oh my god, my heart's being ripped out like Romeo and fucking Juliet. And I was just like, no. I don't know if that's blind love. It's more like blind, like, stupidity. As far as books with actual disabled characters, I'm going to pick The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon. I absolutely love this book. I'm also going to pick Fool by Christopher Moore. Number 8, Ignorance is Bliss. A book you know is bad, but you just don't want to admit it. This is hard for me because I'm usually not afraid to admit that books are, like, not all that great. However, sometimes I lie to myself in hopes that a book or series will get better. Like, as much as I don't like Shatter Me, I am willing to read the next book just because I want to like it as much as some other people like it. Like, damn you, Whitney. If you don't know Whitney from Witty Novels, she is like the biggest hardcore fan of Shatter Me. And I swear to God, she makes me want to read the series. She makes me forget some of the bad things that happened. And I'm willing to change my mind a little bit and go into the next one and see where that takes me. Is that a smart idea on my part? I don't know, but I'm probably going to do it anyways. Question number 9. There is no time like the present. What is your favorite contemporary book? I'm really digging Polly Horvath right now, and this is like middle grade or children's literature, if you will. So I'm digging her, but like I said, there is a story behind this one for me. So Polly assumed that I was sexually assaulted as a child because I asked her a very specific question about this book, and all the signs and red flags in this book pointed to something very specific. And I mean, like, I even just said it out loud to my husband. I told him all the events, and this is without giving him any hints. I just listed off the events that happened, and I said, what do you think happened? And he came up with the same thing I did, and he's never been sexually assaulted. I've never been sexually assaulted, but she was like, for you to come up with any of that, you must have sexual assault in your history as a child. And I was like, well, damn, that's a lot to say to somebody you don't know. Like, the fuck? But what could I expect when she writes characters like this, So, okay. But I do love her stuff. These are probably my favorite contemporary right now. And number 10, Better Safe Than Sorry. A book you don't want to read in case it's bad. So, I have something to admit, you guys. I'm a fucking coward. Any book outside of this genre written by some of my favorite authors, I am terrified to read. Like, actually, funny enough, I just talked about Polly Horvath. I actually have a book called Lord and Lady Bunny, Almost Royalty. And I have yet to read it, even though I got it from the library and I've renewed it like twice already, because it's outside of the normal contemporary. This is straight up about rabbits, and I'm terrified to read it because what if I don't like it? And why did I fucking get it from the library anyways? Because I like her stuff. I'm a coward like that. I still haven't read any of J.K. Rowling's other stories. I haven't read any of G.J. McHow's other books outside of the Pendragon series. I am like a huge coward with this, guys. This is a serious issue that I have. I really get terrified. Like, it'll put me in a reading lull. I will not read a book for months if I try to force myself to read a book by one of my favorite authors that's outside of like the genre that I like them writing. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm really trying to get better at this. That's a lie. I'm not. We'll see. Okay, so I'm going to tag a few people, but I actually haven't decided who I'm going to tag yet. So I'm going to leave them down in the description below, and I'm probably going to stalk them on Twitter and let them know that I tagged them. But I'm also going to tag you. Yes, you, everyone who is watching this. I'm tagging you to make this video or to blog about it. I don't know, whatever you want to do. And send me a link down below so I can go and check it out or something like that, yeah? So guys, that was probably my first like book tag. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Maybe it is. I hope that you enjoyed it. Thumbs up, comment down below, subscribe, do all the nice things, even if you didn't. Ha! And I will talk to you guys later. TTYL to talk for now. Bye!